Okay, someone asked me a good question today and they were like, "Hey, as adults, like what are some general health guidelines? Like what should we be aiming for?" And that's actually one of the areas that I think we're like lacking a lot in like health direction for adults, because I think it's like easy when we have labs of like, this is what your blood sugar should be and this is what your cholesterol should be, but like what should you actually be able to do physically? Like when you grew up, if you had the presidential physical fitness, you had something to achieve. Or if you're an athlete, like, good 5-10-5 or 40-yard dash or 300-yard shuttle times, but like, what do you do as an adult? So I will say this, there's some normative data, but not a ton when it comes to adults. Like one of the things that's hot recently is like, hey, if you can do a dead hang as a female, so like hang from a bar for 2 minutes, that's associated with longevity. That's great. Not a lot of people can do that. So I think that's a great, simple thing to kind of work up to if you have access to a bar, is like, see if you can get up to that. I think that is a pretty good indicator of health. That's not easy to do. 2 minutes is a long time when you're hanging from a bar. There are other general rules of thumb that I will say, having worked with a lot of adult females, is from like a training perspective of like, most people like can't do a pull-up. So like if you can do a pull-up, I'm not saying that's like the marker of health, but if you know anyone who can do a pull-up as a female, they're probably in pretty good health. A push-up, most females can't do a quality push-up. And I think having the core stability to be able to, because that's normally the thing that's going to be the limiting factor, even though most people talk about their arms, is being able to do a good quality push-up as a female. I think that's a pretty good indicator of health. If I told you go run a mile, could you do it and run the entire time and like not like have to walk at all? I think, again, that's not saying that you have to be able to run a mile, but like those that are in good health, even if it's not fast, I could say go run a mile and they could complete it. It might not be fast, but they could do it. And so I think that that's a pretty good indicator for like general health, is the ability to do it, not necessarily have a time. And then there's like this step ahead of that of like, all right, now I have some actual strength goals. Like for athletes and people who are focusing on that, like as a female, can you squat 1.5 times your body weight if you're working towards that? Can you bench press your body weight? Like those are really hard things to get to, but again, give you some sort of general idea to work towards. So if you're like, oh my gosh, what am I working towards? I would start with the simple things like, can you hang from a bar? Then can you get up to 2 minutes? If I told you to run a mile, could you do it without stopping or not having to walk? Could you do a push-up? Can you do a pull-up? Can you lunge, do like 10 lunges on each side and 10 squats without being entirely gassed? Like these are some things that are good to work towards. And then after that, like what are some specific strength goals that you have? Because I think once you start doing it, there are things that you're like, oh, I want to be able to do that. And then it becomes fun and then you have something to kind of work towards. But if you're wondering like, where do I start? What do I aim for? Those are some of the things to start with.